Costco's earnings at all? Or maybe I'll pull them up while you're talking.
No, I really didn't. It's one of those I just really haven't followed because the multiple just has always kept me out.
Yeah. Well, here's a question I put out this week after seeing Costco report strong earnings again. Now, it's hard because we don't really, the Amazon is a part of a bigger business, so we don't exactly know how profitable it is, right? Stuff like that. But let me give you one business. You have Costco, the full business that you could buy, or you could buy Amazon retail, which could include the first party, third party business, Amazon Prime subscriptions, but just exclude Prime Video, right? Because the majority of it is subscribing for the shipping services, and then add on the advertising business as well with the sponsored listings, because that's a big part of the retail segment as well. From an earnings perspective, what do you think deserves a higher multiple, which I guess would mean what do you think has a better combination of competitive advantage plus potential growth? I think it's a tough question. I think they're both pretty darn strong here.
I think Costco still ranks a little higher for me in terms of competitive advantage. It's not that obviously the infrastructure provides Amazon with a massive like logistics advantage and ability to deliver things quicker, but we're seeing to some extent, at least just purely in the news and the buzz, they still have to win online. Like they still have to win customers on Google search. They still have to win against other online competitors like, low cost providers like Temu. And I don't know, Costco seems unbeatable because of their physical footprint, and the advantages have just been self-reinforcing for 4 decades now. I maybe it's just more proof of durability at this point, but feels like there's pretty much nothing that could disrupt Costco, whereas you could maybe come up with a case of something disrupting Amazon.
Sorry, I had to cough. For anyone watching, I hopefully put myself on mute.
Obviously, the growth potential is higher at Amazon just because of market penetration.
Yeah, clearly they're both are really solid, but I think I'm going to edge Amazon here simply because the growth rate's more attractive to me. E-commerce is still only in the United States at 15% of retail. And if you look at some of the other markets, well, I guess every geography, it's not guaranteed to hit where every other geography is, but given how popular it is among younger people, I would expect it to be probably 30 to 40% of the market over time. And I don't think Costco has that runway for growth just from that industry perspective of where things are transitioning. But both are clearly solid, and Costco still has a lot of potential left internationally as well. It's a tough one though. They both have very, very strong moats, so I don't think you can go wrong with either. But both, I think, deserve a pretty high multiple, I would say. Yeah, everyone complains that Costco trades at 38 times earnings, 40 times earnings. I don't know if I would pay that much for it, but I don't think I would be selling it if it was trading at 30 times earnings, 32 times earnings. I wouldn't, right? There's a reason Munger says he's never selling it. Now, if we look at the earnings, it wasn't earnings. It was they do their monthly updates. So they gave out their comparable store sales for the 5 weeks in September. Comparable store sales in the US up 3.2%, Canada 6.7%, international 10%, blended company 4.5%, and then e-commerce 3.7%. So e-commerce not really gaining share, probably losing share if I'm thinking of the Amazon and Shopify numbers there. But everything else seems solid, even as we're going through a bit of a bullwhip on the consumer spending compared to 2022.
Yeah. It's a fantastic business.
Now, do I think it deserves 38 times sale, or 38 times earnings? I don't know. I think I'd rather buy.
Maybe it deserves it, but that just means the expected return is going to be lower. Should be.
Yeah,
for most of the, it might deserve it, but I don't want to be a shareholder in the situation. And I think if Munger were put in the situation now, yes,
He's
he's
not
continuing to
buying.
hold it, but I don't think he's buying it. There's like that kind of that concept of, I think Munger was the one that talked about it with like marriage, like before getting married, have your eyes wide open, but once you're married, you can squint a little. You
Right.
can like let things go, but have be looking for red flags prior to it. That's kind of the same with like the company. Be looking for all the red flags prior to owning it, but once you own it, you can let the multiple run a little bit. Like just continue to
Yeah.
hold it.
Yeah, I agree. And the way I would look, okay, it's gonna grow, right? Obviously. But from I say a opportunity cost perspective, from hey, I could maybe find something else. There's a lot of optionality there, especially if the broad market falls, Costco's likely gonna fall as well. I'd rather at this price or own short-term treasuries over buying it, right? Like buying it, but I agree with you. If I'm holding Costco and I've owned it for 10, 15 years, here's a good question. How, because eventually you have to sell something, right? If it's trading at 100 times earnings, something like that, super extreme. Assuming normalized earnings, what multiple would you sell Costco at today? And I think it would be around, and again, this is not buying, this is if I bought it before and I'm selling simply due to valuation. I think it's probably in between 45 and 50 times earnings. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say north of 40 times. For me, I'd probably be selling it because sometimes when you get a company that ratchets up to a 40 times earnings multiple or even above that, you can kind of rationalize some case where they grow into that. But for Costco, it's really hard without just extending how long you're going to hold it. It's really hard to like increase your expected growth rates unless inflation's insane. So
Right. Yeah.
it,
Okay. Or go ahead.
I think north of 40 times, it doesn't feel very attractive to me.